Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you another video. Happy Turkey Day, happy Turkey Day. Honestly, I'm wearing this hat because the hairline has officially gotten out of hand. But I think you guys follow me well enough to know that I don't mind looking crazy on camera. I know I'm not supposed to, but it's the lane I'm in. I'm at home, I'm comfortable. Y'all love that about me, I hope, because I love it about myself. All right, so this hat's looking nuts, but we can just go and rock with it. Ain't the first time you see me wear this thing. Anyway, can't find the Laker one, by the way. That's why that is. So, this is what we're looking at. I honestly don't know what I turned on the camera for, man. I just wanted to be transparent and say hello to everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, of course. I didn't really realize it was Thanksgiving when I made my therapy session this morning. It was like 5:30 in the morning. And the last thing I was thinking about is what day it was. I was more so thinking about all the stuff that goes through my head. But nevertheless, I want to come here and ask everybody to have a fantastic Turkey Day. You know, be educated on the good and the bad that comes with it. Yes, we celebrate the turkey, but we also understand that a lot of what we've been told about this holiday, it didn't really accentuate some of the bad stuff that took place that made it so that we know of this holiday to be as it is. So we will keep the balance there, and we appreciate any opportunity we have to celebrate around our families and friends and all that. That's why I don't mind Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? I'm happy that we have our holidays, because we can celebrate whatever we want to in our days. You know what I mean? And we don't have to carry the traditions of the people in the past that tell us, okay, this is what the day represent, and now this is what we celebrate. No, we celebrating what we want to celebrate this year, and whatever they were thinking about when they first came up with it. I mean, we can make it about that if we want to, or we can say it's our own. So that's what I choose to do with my holidays. But anyway, without a family and all that stuff, without people, I don't really necessarily have to cook or have you know what I mean, the festivities of the situation. But in my life, I had a mom who was very festive, and as a child, every Thanksgiving was a big deal. We go to other people's house, we do the Thanksgiving thing. So at this point, I've had about a good 28 official Thanksgivings in my life, to where if I don't get an official one this year, I know what it feels like, and I'll have one again, so it's no biggie. But I tell you this, I want everybody to enjoy their Thanksgiving, and I'm planning on doing the same thing. Now, let's see what else we're going to go with our conversation. I've been, you know, thinking about, you know, the content that I keep on this channel, and just what my goal is. You know, my goal is to kind of take the things that I appreciate and bring them to the forefront. You know, and I hope that the lane that I found myself in, being the unique way that I am, and kind of targeting the certain things that I've talked about over the years, my hope is that the people who follow me are people who can take what it is that I say and put it on a bigger platform for the time being, until I get to a point where I'm big enough to have that voice for myself. And plus, I'm not a journalist. I'm not a professional. I don't have the desire to get in the professional environment and be a part of what everybody's doing from a business standpoint, right? So because I have what I have as it pertains to the content that I love to provide, but I don't wish to be a part of the marketplace, when people who are part of the marketplace hear things that I say, they're playing a game I'm not playing. That's essentially what I'm saying. So they may hear something I say on my platform, they may take it to their platform. I'm starting to sense that's happening a lot. It's my intention. That's what I want people to understand. I think a lot of people come through with a mentality like, I got a smaller platform, I know you follow me, don't take my content. But nah, that's not how I'm wired. My intention is to take the influence I have, based on my understanding of how to gather certain people. See, I don't know how to gather everybody, but I know how to capture the attention of certain types of people, basically mainly people who are influential. By what I talk about, how I talk about, what captures their attention. So I know, just by the sheer nature of the things that I talk about on a very consistent basis, who would be willing to say, you know what, let me follow that dude because he has something. And I know that. I was raised to think that way. So what I tell you is, I'm not worried about being exalted for what it is that comes out of my mouth, because I know it comes from my brain. See, there's a certain level of security that should come with a certain creativity. You know what I mean? And I'm not no god or nothing like that, but when you mimic the understanding of what humility is, when you have something that others may not have, that allows you to do things that others cannot do. I think we've been raised in a society to not want to share the wealth. But what I'm telling you is I have an entirely different mindset, because if you take away the self-exhaustion of situations, what you really want in life is to influence what it is that you see while maintaining the fact that you have a peaceful life. So how do you go about seeing things happen that you want to influence, taking the information you have in your head and turning it into actual things that are happening? Well, in my mind, is how you do it. You make sure that you make yourself attractive to the people who can do things about the things that you care about, and you talk about those things to those people every day, and you just assume that all of those who have power are listening to you. And that is exactly what I've done here. I don't expect that I'm listening to the masses, or rather the masses are listening to me. No. I expect that those who have the attention of the masses are listening to me. And so because of it, I speak a certain way, and I expect that some of those content creators who have the big platforms will take some of the most important things that they hear from me, and they'll steal it from me, and they'll bring it to their platforms, and they will make it so that the message gets spread, because that is ultimately what I'm about. Not myself necessarily, no. But things changing environmentally, things that I've been told I have no way to change, things I have been told that because of the wealth gap, because of the marketplace and my desire to not be a part of it, because of the fact that I'm just simply playing the game wrong, that I'm supposed to not be able to affect certain things. I'm not supposed to be able to have no influence from my position as a man who doesn't have a lot and don't have a lot of followers. I'm not supposed to be able to actually change things. But what I'm telling you is, when you actually believe in a God, a real God, and you reach a point in your life where you realize that you didn't even want to be alive anymore, and the only thing that kept you alive was starting to pray for other people, and that came around to making you have a certain level of compassion that makes you want to be here, it's not about self-exhaustion. In fact, you fight against said things. Now, that doesn't mean you influence others to do it, because what you don't want to do is tell people to follow the path that you're on, because I'm me. I got to be me in this path. You need to be where you're at. So when I listen to people who are not myself, I say, you're doing what you're supposed to do. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. You see what I'm saying? In my mind, the way that I'm set up, I'm supposed to be creating. I'm too busy. And this is going to sound very strange, but in my mind, the way I view myself, I'm too busy to care about how you're receiving what it is that I'm doing. I'm too busy. I don't care, because I'm too busy trying to do it. See what I'm saying? That's the way I know where a lot of people out there, and this is important, who have the ambition and the reach to take what it is that I say from positions that they're in and make it so that what I'm saying is for the masses, because that's their position. Not necessarily to create what it is, but to use their strengths in life and enhance what it is that's been said. Now, if I'm thinking about my own self-exhaustion, my own business in the marketplace, my own platform being raised to a certain level, I'm looking at the people who's taking my stuff from me, and I'm saying, you need to give me credit. But what happens when I get the credit, though? My platform changes. See, one of the reasons why I have the freedom of the platform is because it's not as famous. It's not as monetized. You see what I'm saying? Nobody's looking to me to say, okay, you're influencing a lot of people with how you're displaying yourself. And it's probably for the best, because again, I'm not a journalist. I'm not looking to be in the marketplace. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking to take from the public to provide what it is that I do. The motivation for me doing what I do is my own brain. I'm coping with my own mental health, which is why I submerge myself with things that I love to do. Submerge myself with concepts that I love to involve myself in. It's just to help myself in ways that internally make me feel whole. None of this is about pleasing anyone else. But at the same time, that for which makes me whole is that of a space which is supposed to benefit others, for I found myself to be selfish. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like a psyching myself out kind of thing. I'm always thinking about fixing me. And the me I am is always thinking about fixing others and fixing things. You understand what I'm saying? So in coping with myself, this is what comes to me absolutely naturally. So what I'm saying to you is, I am exactly who I need to be who it is that I need to be for them, so they can take what it is from me and make it loud. And when it's time for people to know who I am, I will be known. You see what I'm saying? That's how that works. And if it ain't never gonna happen for me, that's fine, because it was never my intention for it to happen for me. It was my intention for things to happen from what it is that I say. And if you happen to be the ones who spark the mind, that's cool, because it ain't about me doing any of that. It's just me creating the seed. You take the seed, you spark the mind. You know what I mean? And all I'm doing is taking stuff from other people. And that's the beautiful thing about the whole situation. The people that I'm referring to, who I believe have taken some of my content, I've taken theirs too. 100%. And because I'm not in the marketplace, I am not purchasing a request for them to share my content. I've left it out there for free for them to take. See, that's a choice of mine. Now, if I want to be in the marketplace, I'm like, look, you took my stuff. So what I need to do is get in touch with you, and we need to see how we can get this together so we can build my platform and build your platform together. And that's the game that people are playing, right? That's the game. I don't want to play the game. I generally don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not wired to care about that stuff. I don't know why. So I think I'm supposed to be this way. It gives me a certain positioning that other people will never be in, that they wouldn't be comfortable being in, nor would they aim for. You understand what I'm saying? And so it allows me to be in this position. The Lord can use me a certain way as to which I can do the things that others will need me to do, and I'm wired for it. So it's like, it's perfect. It's just fine. You guys do what you got to do. And like I said, it's not that I'm not looking for credit at some point. It's just that I understand that the point I'm in, it's not what I'm looking for now. What I'm looking for now is to continue to develop who it is that I am, continue to make sense of the things that don't quite make sense just yet. And then from there, I can present myself to the rest of the world when I'm absolutely ready. For the time being, I just need to do what comes naturally to me. And some of the things that need to be said can't wait for me to be ready to be heard. So that's where you come in. That's where you come in, other content creators. You take the seeds, as I've already said, that I plant into my little channel with only 350 followers. And you being one of them 350 followers, you take that and you plaster it on your channel that's 350,000. You take the message, man. You take the work that you've put into the marketplace and the equity that you've built in building your platform in the marketplace, and you do what it is I refuse to. We work together. And that is how our children are going to learn to overcome the things that we are manipulated by. Self-exhaustion, the need to be famous, not caring about the relay method of messages and seeds as it pertains to helping others. This is how they work against us, mind you. But they know we don't work this way, which is why we can never keep up. You need people like me. What am I seeing all of my favorite celebrities run into right now? It's the rubber meets the road for a lot of them because they're fame. Their fame and the money that they've earned has put them in a position to where they can't speak up or speak freely or have their names being represented by their words and their last names and the things that matter most deep to them and their innermost. Is not supposed to be good enough for me. Whatever that is, they have to align with a certain couple other things that make them acceptable in order for us to accept their truths. Now, they can be talented as hell, but if they don't align with the truths that I'm with, then apparently they need to be reprimanded, sit down with 6 and 7, 8 people and all kinds of different things. It just does not seem clear to me that you do that to everybody across the board. So I look at stuff like that, and it just ties into why it's so important that we undo some of the stuff that otherwise has been in place that a lot of people tend to benefit from and don't care about, tend to be a part of and are patronized within, and just kind of are okay because of it. It's like, yeah, we feel comfortable so long as you cater it toward me because me, exhaustion, this is why I'm important. This is why people like me are important. We got to bust that up. Someone needs to bust that up. You know, it's just something I've understood. When you mix, and this is not going to quite make sense, but I think it will if for some people, so just bear with me. When you understand that there are certain truths in the spiritual as it pertains to what your karma and faith and God and all these different things, when you realize that the very things that you know will help you in the spiritual are the very things that you have to work against in order to be sane in the world around you, because some of this stuff just does not make sense based on what I feel is right and wrong, then you have to understand that something needs to change, and it may not necessarily be you. But if we don't look at some of this stuff, as I said in my therapy session this morning, we looked at slavery and said that's normal. You know, you take people who look like me, regardless of what's coming out of their mind, even if they have solutions that could help us all. It's like, nah, he's a body. He has black skin. He's a body. Put him under the sun, make us rich. And we live good regardless if he has solutions or not, because it doesn't matter if he has a solution. We're just going to keep it going by continuing to build the world on his back. Doesn't matter if we can find another way through his mind on how best to build the world 10 times better. It doesn't matter, because this works. See what I'm saying? This is why people like me are necessary, because when you step outside of the marketplace, you essentially say, I'm immune to that. I'm immune to it. It is my spiritual and psychological COVID injection, right? For that of which would compromise my soul in regards to being able to work with others, not exalting myself in the process. In other words, I can be this way because I don't want to be in the marketplace. They will make it so that I'm silent to the things that need to be said by my mouth because I want their bag. That's what I'm saying to you. I want their bag. So when I get their bag, now I'm obligated not to use my voice this way. I have to follow their guidelines. There's no way I can sit up here and say Kyrie Irving's a good guy and then proceed to talk about the Lakers. There's no reason for me to sit up here and say white supremacy is no good and we need to get away from it, and then proceed to tell people that I don't think all white people are bad. Like, these are things that can be said in the same sentence, be absolutely true to me, but because it doesn't align with certain things, like, oh no, but you're crossing the line now. Now you can't say that. Well, why not? It's true to me. Well, no, I mean, you just can't say it. No, that's not how we should do those things. Those type of things are like, all right, do you have an argument for that? What's your argument? You want to sit down and have a conversation with some people who are knowledgeable and can throw some retorts at you so we can make this something that we understand, so we don't have these ambiguity moments in regards to the situation? No, we don't want to do that for some reason. Why? Because the people who are in charge of us being, you know, balanced in mind and not being confused want us to stay in balance in mind and confused. So a lot of these things that we can very easily talk out, that will make us say, okay, yeah, that's not evil. We need to define that differently. And then proceed to keep the methods that otherwise are in place to keep people from treating people horribly and bullying people verbally. We could keep those things. But it's the definitions of those things that are manipulated in such a very evil way to where they have the norms that we have wrapped up in different things that they can push the button on at any time. That's where our norms have us, that they can be activated. See what I'm saying? When you have a bunch of norms that have been manipulated so to where they can just activate you, boom, press this button, show you this display, and now you're moving in a direction that otherwise has it as if you have to do all kinds of stuff that you're really not. You know what I'm saying? You're only passionate about it because they told you it's time to be passionate about it. And as I've watched them press this button every couple of years, or this button just get accidentally pressed every couple of years, people like Kanye just accidentally press the button and we're all, you know what I mean? Or he does it on purpose just to show us there's a button there and how we'll act when he presses it. Then it's like, okay, well, what do we do with this? Does this work for us? No. Why? Because it's not balanced. It doesn't take into account certain things. It doesn't read energy properly. It's not treating everybody the same. So no, we don't want this. It doesn't work for us. So this is where we're at. This is simply where we're at. And how far does their reach go? How come every conversation that we have essentially seems like it has someone behind the curtain pulling strings, making things look a certain way, making certain people look a certain way, making other people feel a certain way about certain people? Every story, everything. It's all here for you to come to a certain conclusion about what it is you're looking at when you see certain images. You know, but they say they're trying to kill stereotypes. I don't believe so. Not when I look at everything that I'm seeing on these various platforms that often are used simultaneously to smear. So it's like, look, at the end of the day, there's a big brother. And when I turn on this camera, I'm assuming half of the people talking to me or listening to me are in a position to either reach him, or probably people that are maybe even in competition with him. These are people I expect to be listening to me. I've said enough key phrases to make them say, what the hell is he talking about? Did it on purpose too. And if you follow me enough, you know I'm addressing them most of the time when I talk. I want you guys to know who I think I'm talking to when I'm speaking to you. In my mind, I'm talking to the most important people in the world. And the reality is I actually am, no matter who you are. For the same exact example that I'm displaying to you today, if you overcome those things that make you the story, as they say, the main character, and you realize you can find strength in being a side character, or even like being the main character as the not main character, because this dynamic is not a movie at all. When you start realizing that there are ways to find strength in positions that they told you is not the top, then you realize that God is real. He can bless you anywhere, and the environment can change so that the top isn't the top anymore while you're doing the things you're supposed to be doing. And this is what I understand. We don't control the environment. The people who act like they're gods are not actually gods. The world can change immediately as to which the things that you were doing are right now, as opposed to them not being right for what it was supposed to be last week. And maybe that doesn't make sense to you. Maybe that doesn't make any sense to you. Okay, well, let me say it like this. The guy who's been hoarding water for the last 3 weeks, going every week, buying 3 and 4 packs of water, he's ready when the storm hits. Now, none of us were preparing for that, because he's a crazy guy preparing for something that's not coming until it hits, and he's right. Same thing. Same exact thing. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. And as it pertains to certain things, we got to take them too far. As it pertains to the unselfishness and wanting to stay out of the marketplace and wanting to be okay with people who are taking messages and relaying them toward their platforms if they're bigger, these are things that we have to teach our kids to be okay with. Because if we're teaching them how to climb the ladder that was put in place for us to climb, that thing is rigged for you to fall. That is essentially all I'm saying. I look at people who cannot speak for themselves. They cannot come up here and talk the way they want to, because they have their names wrapped up on some stuff that says you may not. You may not. And if you want the safety and the security of being safe within the environment that we've created, that we don't think can ever change because we're gods, you had better stay on the right side of us. You had better say what it is we want you to say. You had better shut up on things we want you to shut up on. And you better not ask questions about nothing in regards to who it is you should not. And this will keep you safe so long as you abide by it. That's what they've put in place for us. And what I'm saying is, you ain't God. You can't keep me safe. He could turn the heat up to 100 degrees hotter than it is right now just to prove you ain't a God and cook all of us. You don't have that kind of control, is what I'm saying to you behind the curtain. And it's learning time for the people behind the curtain. It's learning time, because what they need to understand is what they've been operating under is in regards to like the ways that they've been promoting, pushing people around and hurting people around, as I've been talking about. That, in my mind and heart, comes from a space where you don't have any faith yourself. You don't have no faith. That's why you try to control everything. That's why you think you need to have your hands on everything. That's why you think you need to be watching everybody. That's why you look at the methods that you use in your defense and then apply them to your opponent as if they're you. Right? Because that's self-exhaustion. Everybody's like me. That's why I think everybody's the worst thing in the world, because I'm actually the worst thing in the world. Crap that they really do. That is a thing. It's learning time for those people. They don't see the wisdom in doing things differently. They need to see it so things can change. That's the point. Those at the top have convinced other people they're gods. So a lot of people who are in a position to help change their mind don't even look to. They're afraid to. They're afraid to give them the retort that would change their mind. The way I look at it is, the more I learn about black people and how things have been treated, the more I realize I would not have had a voice to say these things. That I could be maimed, shot, burned, cut up, all kinds of weird, messed up, very, very torturous things can happen to me just for having this conversation. And so for the people who weren't able to have that conversation, or those who couldn't articulate themselves properly, I feel an obligation to. That's where I'm at. That's why I'm not bombarding myself with, oh, he stole my content, he stole my... Man, I'm talking for the ancestors, brother. We all together on this. Those who are stealing my content, bro, I want to see your kids flourish. I don't give a damn about the stuff we're talking about as it pertains to the specifics of it. Take it, run with it, and let's get our teams winning, like literally. But as it pertains to the thing, the bigger picture, listen to the rest of the stuff I'm saying too. That's the point. That's the point. Because what I'm talking about ain't just these little subjects. With respect to everybody who's focused. This is just a passion for me. The Lakers and all this other stuff is a passion for me. So if you're a Laker, this is the vision. If you're one of those Laker or people who follow the Lakers or follow the NBA or do all those things, me personally, I just want the league to be dope. I want my team to win a bunch of championships, bro. So if what you can say that you take from me can help that team win, bro, that's all I care about. I don't give a damn about nothing else. Because my mission on earth is much bigger than that. My mission and the things that I want to talk about and the things I want to be known for is going to improve as we continue to create this channel. And you're going to see that my mind doesn't hover around just one thing. I got musical talent. I got artistic talents. I got, you know, it's like, that's just one thing. So if I come out and say, I'm famous for the Lakers, you ain't never going to listen to me for everything else. And what I'm saying is those who follow me know that I'm an expert on this, that, third, this, that. Well, not expert, but I find myself to be someone who could talk about this, that, and the third, this, and that. And those things don't come together. They don't come together at all. Not only that, but I don't think the people behind the curtain can really use me properly because of how I'm wired. And if they study my history, they're gonna know I'm not gonna capitulate. They already know that. It doesn't mean that I don't see the fruit in capitulating to some things if I'm explaining certain things, but I know they're never gonna explain certain things to me. I don't have the leverage to ask for those things. But as I'm discovered 1,000 years from now, I believe people like me, if it's another person comes around who has this type of mentality, this type of thing, there will be a world and a space where they will want to hear from that person specifically because he's not in the marketplace, because he's not looking to be famous, but because he has all of these different things that otherwise would make him glorious if he were to try to get into that arena. And that's exactly what I'm saying to you. If I actually go after it, I can go after it. You will know BDF 44, the Laker guy, if I go after it. I don't want to go after anything, man. My problem in this life has always been nothing should be anything I'm known for because I have too many interests, as I've already said. So it's like, if you know me for the music, it's going to minimalize what it is that I'm actually about. If you know me for only the, you know, the stuff that I talk about in regards to, you know, I guess you can say the social stuff, I don't want to be in that lane, dude. Because I like low frequency stuff sometimes and I got a long way to go. It's like, nah, I can't be known as the Malcolm X because I can't stand on that hill all the way. I got a lot of growing up to do. But you're going to hear things from me that makes you say, you know what, I probably want him to be in that position if he gets himself together. You know what I mean? That's what I found myself to be. So it's like, I don't want to be known for that either. I don't want to be known for the Lakers. I don't want to be known for the social justice stuff. I don't want to be known for anything other than just being in a very, very, very unique to my very own self lane. A lane where I can be honest at all times, influential to no end, and still be able to live a very comfortable life. Privacy. You know what I mean? Like literally. That's what I like. The older I get, the more I realize I don't want to be all over the world all the time. I mean, I would like to travel, but like, that's not who I've been, so that's definitely not the world I'm going to jump into. But people who do what I do, they have to commit to that lifestyle. You got to now be for others. And that's another thing. I don't make content with the intention of doing anything other than what I've already described. So sometimes when I make certain content, it ain't going to be about attaching myself to what I think is going to attract you. Not necessarily. You know what I mean? If I want to wake up in the morning and talk about gumbo and how I love eating gumbo, I don't want that to be something I can't upload because it doesn't meet the numbers. You know, if I want to talk about the damn Clippers for 30 minutes after having a complete 30-minute conversation about social justice, that's exactly where my head went. That's what I want. That's what I'm going to do, and that's what you're going to know me for. So it's like all these different things that the people behind the curtain would try to box me in to try to make it so that you know BDF for that. I reject that before I even get in that room. I don't want anything to do with that. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. You know, I like the idea of having separate entities in regards to what it is I do. I'm a playlist curator. People who know me for playlist stuff don't know that I'm a playlist curator. I'm a Laker guy, and the people who know me for Laker stuff may not necessarily click on anything else other than the Laker stuff. I do the therapy sessions, trying to reinvent exactly what social media is in regards to how we help our mental health. Since so much on these phones do so much to take away from our mental health, I figured, hey, I'm turning this thing into a therapy session for myself. I'm not spending $100,000 on a therapist. For what? When I can just turn on this camera and talk to you guys? That's all I'm going to do anyway. I don't think any therapist, that's another thing. It's like, okay, I start looking about what type of therapist do I need. I'm going to need about 8 of them. One therapist ain't going to get it done for a brain like this. So it's just like, look, let's not go the conventional ways of helping my brain, because it's going to take me to some spiritual places that you guys probably don't see as normal. Once I start healing myself, it's a lot of the spiritual that has to do with that. I can't do that with another person that's a therapist, a licensed therapist, things like that. Okay, let's find a Christian therapist. Run circles around them. with respect. I just am. That's never gonna work. So it's like, look, when I start knowing how I am, when I start to learn how I am, as I've started to do over the last 3 years, I just realized certain things I have to do a certain way. And then I can't do what everybody else is doing. I can't do what the norms are. I'm a new creator of different norms. All the stuff that y'all got going on that you agree with, a lot of those things I don't think none of it works. I ain't gonna lie to you. Some of that stuff, well, let's sit down with this person, self-affirmation stuff. Some of that stuff works, but a lot of that stuff is lacking in spiritual energy, and you cannot heal without spiritual energy. That's what I've learned. I cannot heal. So the most important thing for me was a connection with the source. The second most important thing was to admit that I'm not the center of the universe. The third important thing was to realize I didn't love enough. Didn't have enough love in my heart for others. I needed to become more unselfish. Start praying for other people. Then the understanding that praying for other people would make it so that more of what it is that makes me compassionate expanded into other aspects of my personality. And I started looking for one thing, found something else. And I started getting answers. And I started seeing people who I pray for come together and doing things that had nothing to do with me, that they weren't doing before I started praying for them. Then these type of things started reinforcing a belief that I have the confidence to be who I need to be used by God, to not have to worry about things like self-exhaustion, to make sure you guys are giving me credit. None of that matters, man. Be used by God for the time that you have, and when he's done with you, you'll get all the stuff that you're supposed to get. That's what I believe, man. And most importantly, you lead the world a better place than you found it. And too many people have given us a lot of things, but they left the world just as poor of a place as they found it when they first came into the world. And I just don't want that. I don't want that. Especially when I think I see certain things that people have been doing wrong for a long time, and I see the algorithm for which they've been able to keep it going. It starts with selfishness, a lack of compassion, putting myself first, being that main character that everybody likes saying. That's how they've kept it going. Because if you're the only person that matters, then it doesn't matter what's happening to somebody 10,000 miles away from you. And 10,000 miles away from you, some bad things are happening to some very, very nice people. So that you can continue to be the main character. And damn it, I am not of that mindset or spirit. I am not. There were black people who sold black people into slavery. I would not have been one of them. You understand what I'm saying to you? Absolutely not. And there was something that I want to say. I was not able to articulate a truth properly in one of my therapy session videos, probably about 30 therapy sessions ago. Random, long time ago. I said to you guys something that didn't articulate the right way. But what it is that I was trying to say was this. I understood the truth about my very own family as it pertains to slavery history. Some of my family were owned by Native Americans. You understand what I'm saying to you? And I understand the truth about that. And that's one of the things I was talking about in my therapy session earlier today. That we understand slavery to be a practice that's taken place for a long time. We understand that slavery was something that's done to black people in this country. We also understand that slave trade was done in certain other countries. But I don't think we understand the fullness of what black represents on this earth. And it's important that black people understand how they're viewed, because I'm starting to get it fully. We are cattle to these people. Cattle. Our race, our skin, our muscles, because they're strong, because we have the gifts we have, we are a commodity. No different than poultry, grass, cotton, black person. This is a fact. And every black person in the world needs to understand that when they stand anywhere on this earth. Because that is a truth they've tried to hide from us for a very long time. But it is a fact. And what we need to do is not only rise above it, but not allow the things that kept it in place to continue. We don't have to come out like raging animals in response to this, because we understand balance conundrums, and we also understand people have agreed to certain things just because they were afraid not to. And this is why this is important. This is why I'm important. Because I hope to be an example of why agreeing is an understanding of what keeps those links going. And when you step out of those agreements for the sheer understanding that those agreements need to be stepped out from under, you provide yourself the leverage to rise above. But it takes a God to do so, the God within yourself, to have the confidence that you can do so, that you can continue to pray so that he can open up your mind to understand that this is how you need to do it. To not be worried about what they tell you to be worried about or worried about what the next man's doing, especially when he's thinking about right now, when God is thinking about forever and you need to be too. So this is why we rise above certain stuff, the little low frequency stuff that's done against us when we think this way, when we believe this way. You look at a person like Kyrie Irving, he's moving a certain way and people are treating him bad and all this different stuff. You just remember what I'm saying to you. I started praying for Kyrie Irving before this even started happening. Just remember that. Kanye, same thing. Some of this stuff is bigger than them. Just like those behind the curtain who have some learning to do, so do the people in front of us who are being used by God, including my very own self. There are lessons to learn to make us better. There are things that we're going to have to accept and be a part of, to know that are going to be revealed to us very soon to help us understand further just how deep in the hole we are mentally. And some of that stuff, it's going to be like rubber meets the road. It's going to be like, damn, we just can't live in this space. It's hypocrisy. I've upheld some stuff I shouldn't have. That's what we're all going to have to understand. We have all, to no fault of our own, upheld some things we should not have. You look at Jerry Jones and what he's going through. Do not let them keep this a low frequency conversation. He couldn't do nothing at all about what it was that was going on back there unless he was willing to give his life. So all this, oh, Jerry Jones, we know Jerry Jones would be, oh, the Dallas Cowboys. If he would have done anything at all, other than sit there and kept his mouth shut, he would have been known as a black sheep, and then he would have been dealing with all the brunt of the evil that comes your way when you're a black sheep in that environment. Now, would I have loved for him to do that? Yes. Yes. I wanted every one of those people who felt anything other than hate for black people to stand up and say, this is wrong, even though all of y'all agree with it, it's wrong. But who's doing that now in regards to the agreements around us? Some of these things we don't even want to question. Some of this stuff we feel is wrong, but it's like, we can't say that. Why can't you say that? Well, I'll tell you why you can't say that. The same reason why Jerry Jones couldn't say anything when he was 14 years old looking at all that. Same thing. You're him in a different way until you're not. And that's the point. BDF 44. I'll thank you all for watching.